Messi! It is the cleanest of clean finishes from the best on the planet.
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
Liverpool, the champions of Europe, are top of the world.
The biggest interviews.
That such a great spectacle is ruined by such thuggish behavior.
And all the analysis right here.
He's the one player that has the arrogance to think that he can play in any stadium in the world and any pitch in the world in front of any player in the world and take them on.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
Yeah, that's right. We are big on action, big on analysis, big on discussion, big on entertainment. It's the biggest sports show anywhere on Zimbabwe radio. It is ZiFM Sport on a Monday evening. Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to it. In the studio to deliver what should be an absolutely thrilling edition of the show is Barry Manandi, as well as former Zimbabwe international Alois Munjira, who's our football pundit here at ZiFM, and also the man behind the desk, Sean Tafirinyika, our producer. My name is Mike Madoda. Now, what can you look forward to on today's edition of ZiFM Sport? On the home front, Chevron's one-day international captain Chamuchi Baba says his side found it very difficult to stop Bangladesh from scoring runs as Lighton Das struck his second one-day international century to set up a crushing 169-run win for the hosts in the first one-day international against Zimbabwe in Sylhet yesterday.
In international sport, after 5 pulsating rounds, we catch up with Super Rugby action where Stormers coach John Dobson says Saturday's 33-14 loss to the Blues at Newlands was a massive wake-up call for his side. We'll also go around the world in 60, taking off in the United States, where Sanjay secured a maiden PGA Tour victory at the Honda Classic as Tommy Fleetwood narrowly missed out after a late error. In Mexico, Rafael Nadal captured his third Mexican Open title on Saturday as he beat Taylor Fritz in Acapulco. And we touched down in New Zealand where frustrated India captain Virat Kohli criticized his team and sparred with a journalist as New Zealand won the second test inside 3 days to sweep the series.
We have the Castle Lager World Football Report in the second half of the show, and it kicks off in South Africa where Kaizer Chiefs head coach Ernst Middendorp has hailed his team's strong mentality after beating Orlando Pirates in the Soweto derby. In England, Pep Guardiola has praised Manchester City as an awesome side after they put on a performance that saw off Aston Villa to see his side lift the Carabao Cup for the third year in succession. While in the Premier League, Watford, the Hornets, caused a monumental upset after becoming the first team to beat Liverpool this season. In La Liga, Real Madrid regrouped from their Champions League collapse to Manchester City to upstage Barcelona in El Clasico. We'll also have updates out of Italy, Serie A, as well as the German Bundesliga. Like I said, it promises to be an absolutely thrilling edition of ZiFM Sport. Don't go anywhere. In fact, tell someone that the team is live on your favorite station.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The home front. Local sports news and analysis.
We always start on the home front, and Chevron's one-day international captain Chamuchi Baba says his side found it very difficult to stop Bangladesh from scoring runs as Lighton Das struck his second one-day international century to set up a crushing 169-run win for the hosts in the first one-day international versus Zimbabwe in Sylhet yesterday. Lighton hit 126 off 105 balls with 13 fours and 2 maximums as Bangladesh posted 321 for 6, their highest score against Zimbabwe before they bowled out the visitors for 152 runs in 39.1 overs for their biggest ever one-day international win. The tail of the tape, take a look at the scorecard. Bangladesh 321 for 6. Das, the standout contributor, with 126. Mitten with 50. Chris Mpofu, the best of our bowlers, he picked up 2 wickets for 68 runs from his 10 overs. Zimbabwe in reply could only muster 152. Madevere Wesley on debut, 35 runs for the youngster, the 19-year-old, and then the man who did most of the damage for the Bangladesh Bangladeshi bowlers is Saifuddin. He picked up 3 for 22. Bangladesh winning by a massive 169 runs. Now, Zimbabwe one-day international captain Chamuchi Baba complimented Bangladesh on their batting.
Definitely, I thought the Bangladeshi batted well first half of the game, and they're the guy who batted through for them, and it's always key, and they had partnerships throughout the game. So I think that was the key for them. The last time we played a test match here, we won, and it's a nice venue for us. We're excited to play here, and we have good memories. So hopefully we can turn things around in the next game.
Chamuchi Baba Barry pointing out to the fact that Bangladesh had someone who batted all the way through. Also pointed to the fact that Bangladesh had a lot of partnerships in their innings, and they were able to post that huge and imposing 321 for 6. And the same can't be said about Zimbabwe. When it came to our batting, it was woeful.
I suppose we can be glad that Chamuchi Baba knows what it takes to win a cricket match, doesn't it?
At least he's got the right idea.
Exactly. You need somebody who's going to bat through. You need partnerships to be formed. We had neither. And for me, I think that Zimbabwe let themselves down in the sense that they never quite got in. One-day internationals, yes, they are the shorter format of the game, and they are shorter than a test match. That's a statement of the obvious. But the approach has got to be the same. You remember, you got 50 overs with which to work. If you need to steady the innings, do so, and make sure that your chase is consistently on. And you need that steady hand, that steady head as captain, and as captain you need to show some leadership.
Well, let's go back, Barry, and pick apart the Zimbabwe performance, starting with the bowling effort. If you take a look at Bangladesh, they had contributions all the way down the order. The only person who really didn't get going for them was Hassan, and he came down, when the going was, when they were meant to be putting runs on the scoreboard. So he got 7. He was trying to hit out. But if you take a look at them, Das at the top of the order, 126, Iqbal, 24, 29, 19, 32, 50, 28. So everyone got a start. Yeah. It was that sort of wicket where you were able to get in and stay in and make runs. But Zimbabwe made very heavy weather of it. If you take a look at our bowlers, we never really got the control that we needed. And the likes of Tiripano are going to have to play a lot better, because going for 56 at a run rate of 8 from his 7 overs, simply not good enough when you're supposed to be stemming the flow of runs.
100%. And the stemming the flow of runs, part of it is not necessarily always trying things. I feel that perhaps our bowlers put themselves under pressure to take wickets. Sometimes it is containing and making sure that the batsman starts to get scoreboard pressure to score the runs. The minute they do that, they take the risky shots, and they put themselves into positions where you can actually get them out. So I feel that perhaps the application of our bowlers, and indeed I suppose our batters as well, is a bit. There's a bit of work that needs to be done there. The tragedy, as you quite rightly point out, is the one batter who's getting in, who consistently is delivering performances. Is a 19-year-old, a teenager, Wesley Madiveri.
Yeah, he's a teenager who, in truth, if we had our systems right, he probably wouldn't be playing.
He wouldn't be playing
for the national team. It's actually an indictment on Zimbabwe cricket that we are throwing him into the deep end, and that he's actually producing when we have a lot of these recycled cricketers who've been around the national team for a long time who are failing to deliver. Now, Wesley Madiveri was the highest of our scorers with the bat. He made 30 odd. He could have been out for 1, in truth, but the Bangladeshis didn't have the slip in place when he went for 1 and he sneaked it in between the wicketkeeper and the second slip. They should have had a first slip in place. You take a look at that, but he crafted an innings which belied his youthfulness. Whereas the other more experienced batsmen, your Brendan Taylor, for example, going for the big sweep, the big hiv-ho, and he's bowled, and guys throwing away their wickets with injudicious shots.
Yeah, and again, you say that the innings belies his age and his introduction to the game, and it certainly does, because what you need when you've been dropped and you've been handed a lifeline, rebuild your innings. Make sure that you work on what you felt. Make them pay for dropping you. Now Zimbabwe is now 14-0, 14th consecutive loss to Bangladesh. Not good enough.
Not good enough. Well, they will be hoping to do better. The second match of the series will be held at the same venue tomorrow. So wishing the Chevrons all the best of luck in that encounter versus the Tigers of Bangladesh. This is ZiFM Sport on a Monday, picking apart the weekend. Coming up, you've got a local sports news News Roundup, triathlon, bodybuilding and football. And then we'll go international with our sports news, where it'll be Super Rugby. And we'll be off to Newlands in Cape Town, where the Stormers suffered a surprising loss.
Hi, my name is Sean Williams, Zimbabwe cricket captain. You're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Z.
All right, let's go around the country for a sports news roundup on the home front now, starting with triathlon. We're fresh from putting on a good show at the Bonacqua Troutbeck ATU Triathlon Africa Cup held in Nyanga last weekend. Zimbabwean junior triathlete Matthew Denslow is set to continue his schedule, which he hopes will culminate in a berth at the ITU Junior World Championships, which is set to be held in Canada. Though he is still riding on the wave of excitement from his good performance in Nyanga, Denslow is eager to get back into action and has now set his sights on striking gold in the junior men's race at the ATU Triathlon Junior African Cup in Durban, South Africa this month. We move on to bodybuilding. Beloved George was the overall winner of the 2020 GS Classic bodybuilding contest held at the Zimbabwe College of Music on Saturday night. The win sees the Hulk book a ticket for the Mr. Universe competition to be held in Bangkok, Thailand, which is in June. George said he was not going to rest on his laurels and he will prepare for the big one, where he expects to do well. Wrap it up with football news, where ZiFA are keeping their fingers crossed as they await CAF's response after the country's association wrote to the Continental Football governing body seeking some reprieve over the blanket stadium ban imposed on the country's facilities last week. All stadiums in the country were last week deemed unfit to host international matches, in a development which will see the Warriors' AFCON qualifier against Algeria later this month played on neutral ground.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
Our international sports news begins with Super Rugby, where Stormers coach John Dobson says Saturday's 33-14 loss to the Blues at Newlands was a massive wake-up call for his side. The Cape Townians had won all 4 of their Super Rugby 2020 matches before Saturday, but came unstuck with a woeful performance in front of over 20,000 people. Stormers captain Stephen Kitchoff added that the side had looked lethargic from as early as their pre-match warm-up.
Yeah, all credit to the Blues. I think they played exceptionally well tonight, lived with our mistakes and put some early scoreboard pressure on us, and we had to fight to get our way back, to try and get our way back into it. I think we let ourselves down just before half-time. A couple of missed tackles on their wing, and they got the ball away to the other side and scored a crucial try to take it away from us. But still incredibly proud of the boys. They did fight hard till the end. I think especially the first 20 minutes we were under the pump a bit. Our set piece struggled, lost a couple of balls in the line out, and made a couple of crucial mistakes in scrum time.
Z.
Now, Stormers go into their bye week off the back of their first defeat, but more worryingly was the level of ineptitude against an ordinary Blues team struggling for consistency. Now, Blues captain Patrick Tuipolotu says his side are really happy with their win.
Yeah, we spoke about it. We haven't won here for about 16 years, so look, we just wanted to build on our performance from last week. We knew last week wasn't good enough, and to come here and play against a strong Stormer side, unbeaten, look, that's a feat in itself. So we'll take the win tonight. We're pretty happy with what we got, and we'll build into next week. I think with any team or in any conditions, we'll back our skill set. Today we're lucky enough to have a dry track, and look, that makes it better for our backs to finish off, and I think that's what they did tonight. That gave us an edge as we came out, and like as you would have seen, when we came out the second half, we managed to put some points on. But for us, we're pretty happy that we've come to this place on a special occasion. Most of the boys haven't played here before, so look, we're pretty delighted.
Z.
Mikey, looking and listening to the two captains, having watched the game, you got to think to yourself it was the 2 A's, and one in the negative for the Stormers and one in the positive for the Blues, and the 2 A's being approach and application.
Yeah, approach and application. I think the New Zealand sides in general tend to back their skill set.
Yeah.
So they're big on skill, they're big on running rugby, they're big on moving the ball through hands, and they can also mix it up physically as well. And it clicked for the Blues in that first half. I mean, they raced to a 20-0 lead before the Stormers knew what had hit them. And as for the Stormers, I think they were sucked into playing a running brand of rugby, an attacking brand of rugby. I think they should have got back to their game, which is to keep it, structured. Use your forwards to gain the ground and to set you up, and then
use your set plays when you
use your set plays when you get them, and then get your backs to do the finishing. But they were sucked into that running brand of rugby, which is almost 7-star, which suits New Zealand sides, because New Zealand have got more skilled players, they got better players, they got faster players. They love to move the ball through hands, so that worked into the Blues' favour. So I think that arrogance, that touch of arrogance, that we're playing a side that's been losing, and we have won 4 games in a row. We are the better side. I think that's what actually led them to getting unstuck.
Bit of a weekend of the breaking of unbeaten runs, but we'll get to that a bit later on, as we're still talking rugby, because Stormers had their unbeaten run beaten. So from what you're saying, like Kitchoff says, from the warm-up, the approach was wrong, and they approached it with an air of arrogance, and the Blues, their game plan came together, and because it came together, this game went only one way.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. I mean, worryingly, I think for the home side, they will look at their defence, which has been a strong facet of their game. Remember, that's why I was talking about they should have played the structured rugby that they are used to, but they missed 36 tackles in all, and they lost 4 of their line-outs. Their line-out has been the go-to set play. When you miss 36 tackles against the New Zealand side, they're going to make you pay, and that's exactly what the Auckland Blues were able to do at Newlands. They were able to make the Stormers pay.
Let's look at the rest of your Super Rugby results. The Jaguares getting a result away from home. 39-24, they prevailed over the Bulls. The Sharks also getting a result. 33-23, they beat the Reds. Hurricanes were too good for the Sunwolves. 62-15, they beat them. And then it was the Waratahs who prevailed over the Lions, 29-17. Meanwhile, the Rebels got a narrow victory over the Highlanders, 28-22.
Okay, what does it mean in terms of the conferences in the New Zealand Conference? The Crusaders lead the way. They didn't play this past weekend. They had a bye, but they have lost just once and won 3 games, just like the Hurricanes and the Chiefs. But of course, the Crusaders are scoring more points. They have the better points difference. So those are your top 3 sides. The Blues are in 4th, courtesy of that result. And then the Highlanders are in 5th place. The South African Conference sees the Stormers leading their way, followed by the Sharks. The Jaguares are in 3rd place, ahead of the Lions and the Bulls. The Australian Conference has got the Brumbies on top. The Rebels are in 2nd. The Reds are in 3rd. Waratahs 4th, and the Sunwolves in 5th. The overall standings, which combine the 3 conferences, sees the Stormers leading the way at the very top of the table with 17 points, followed by the Crusaders in 2nd place. The Brumbies are 3rd. The Sharks are 4th. Jaguares are 5th, and the Hurricanes are in 6th place.
Some Sevens rugby. It was taking place in Los Angeles. Now the Springbok Sevens team scored twice in the last minute of one of the most dramatic finals ever, to first force extra time and then claim a sudden death try winner to beat Fiji 29-24 at the LA Sevens at Dignity Health Sports Park in California last night. The victory means that South Africa will travel to Vancouver for next weekend's Canada Sevens, only 4 points behind New Zealand on the overall World Series log. What a final it was.
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We take off in the US, where Sung Jae Im scored a maiden PGA Tour victory at the Honda Classic as Tommy Fleetwood narrowly missed out after a late error. Im posted a 4 under 66 on PGA Nationals Championship course to end the week on 6 under and a shot clear of Canada's Mackenzie Hughes, with Tommy Fleetwood a further stroke back in 3rd after finding water with his approach into the final hole. Across to Mexico, Rafael Nadal captured his 3rd Mexican Open title on Saturday as he beat Taylor Fritz 6-3, 6-2 in Acapulco. Nadal survived 10 aces from Fritz and broke the service 3 times to outperform the 22-year-old American. On the ladies' side, Heather Watson won the Mexican Open after defeating Canada's Leila Fernandez 6-4, 6-7, 6-1. The British number 2 served up 6 aces on the way to victory over the 17-year-old, with the pair battling it out for almost 3 hours. Touching down in New Zealand, frustrated Indian captain Virat Kohli criticised his team team and sparred with a journalist as New Zealand won the second test inside 3 days to sweep the series. Home skipper Kane Williamson celebrated an outstanding performance as New Zealand, who won the first test by 10 wickets, claimed the second by 7 wickets to wrap it up 2-0. Kohli, who was caught making a foul-mouthed outburst to the crowd during day 2, was disappointed with his top-ranked side.
The Castle Lager Premier Soccer League report on ZiFM Sport. The beating drum. The roaring fans. Take a ride on the wild side with the Africa Report on ZiFM Sport.
Charity begins at home, so we kick off the beautiful game, the Castle Lager World Football Report, on the continent in Mzansi, South Africa, where Kaizer Chiefs head coach Ernst Middendorf has hailed his team's strong mentality after beating Orlando Pirates Ezika Magebula in the Soweto derby on Saturday afternoon. The Glamour Boys, Amakosi, came into the clash at the FNB Stadium with a 6-point lead at the top of the ABSA Premiership standings, which was at risk after being halved by their bitter rivals. The pressure continued to mount on Amakosi in the lead up to the clash, but they kept their composure when it mattered the most and were able to pull off a 1-0 win thanks to a solitary strike from Lebohang Manyama. Fantastic goal to win an absolutely fantastic match, Alois.
Yeah, it was a fantastic match. I loved the pace. The pace of the match was actually fantastic, especially the first 20 minutes was electric. I looked at the atmosphere as well, and I was like, okay, are we in Africa? Are we just next door? It's something, we look at our games here and you just look at that match, you can't believe that they're just across the Limpopo.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. And, the buzz that surrounds the Soweto derby, absolutely fantastic. Year in, year out, season in, season out, 2 games, they're able to sell out 92,000 tickets all the time. Now, I have a young sister. She's not big on football, but she's in South Africa and she attends the Soweto derby all the time because she was saying, you know what, I just go there for the buzz.
For the vibe.
Yes, that's what actually she said. So it's not just a sporting occasion in South Africa, it's also a great social occasion.
Yeah, it is, and it's creating everything around the game, isn't it? That you look at the build up to the game. It's well marketed. You've got activations that
derby.
start. Yes, they exactly. There are activations that precede the derby. At the derby, you've got a pre-show, you've got a halftime show, you've got things that entertain
I still can't
people.
win 100,000 rand on the back of being able to slot the ball into the back of the net, a penalty shootout.
Yes. What a pleasure.
Yeah,
Alois and I
fantastic.
will have some of that action. We will be able to slot that. It's very, very easy. But the thing is that it's creating that buzz that people don't actually need to know who the players are. They need to know, don't need to know what stats they're carrying. No, they just need to be excited by the build-up and what happens around the game, and you fill up the stadium. Biggest stadium in Africa, filled up.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Alois, is that you are left under no illusion that there's a derby coming up. So the month leading up to the derby, you know that Orlando Pirates is hosting Kaizer Chiefs, that the match is at Soccer City, the tickets are on sale, the tickets are selling fast. Everyone is excited. They're buying jerseys, they're buying tops, they're buying regalia, team, merchandise. Everyone is heading out there. And what I love about the Soweto derby is the fact that it unites South Africa. So it's got people who are coming in from Soweto, it's got people who are coming in from Sandton, it's got people who are traveling from KwaZulu-Natal, and it's got people who are coming from Centurion. It's got people who are flying in from Cape Town. So it's not just for the rich, it's not just for the poor. In Zimbabwe, you've had this thing where we associate football with the ghetto. We associate Dynamos versus Caps with Mbare and Highfields and Kuwadzana, and we rarely ever see people streaming in from Borodo Brook or from Glen Lawn. But the derby in South Africa is a testament that you can do that you can create a game and a brand that is accepted by all.
Yeah, you are very right, Mike. We have always talked about it, that when we talk about Zimbabwean football, we are looking at who is our customers, is our clients, is our fans. We always try to market our football thinking about the poorest level,
at the bottom of the pyramid.
Bottom of the pyramid. That's why we are getting it wrong. We don't want to strike that balance. There's a balance. It's 45 rand, 50 rand, you might say it's not expensive, it's also not cheap. So you have struck a balance that even the person that struggles can actually save, because this game is marketed so well 2-3 months before that you can actually say, I want to go to that match. You can surely save 45 rands for the match. You can actually plan for it.
I love what Alois is saying in the sense that we've got to then understand, once we project, okay, this is our target market, we've got to then have the stadium and customer experience that fits and balances out, just like the price of the tickets. It's beyond the price of the ticket.
As a marketing man, I'm going to put you on the spot, Barry, and ask you, is that the reason why our corporates are not really latching onto the product that we have in the Castle Lager Premier Soccer League, because we haven't created a customer experience or a fan experience that is tailor-made to appeal to a cross-segment of society?
No, we haven't. And that's the problem, because what then is happening is that your premium brands can't associate them. Let's take a perfect example. Let's go to Germany. Germany, Mercedes-Benz is a big sponsor in football, but it's a premium brand.
Absolutely.
And that's because they know they're speaking to their customers, because their customers are football fans. So premium brands will not associate with a product that is not appealing to premium customers. So
even medical, pharmaceutical companies like Bayer are involved in football in Germany.
So what we're then doing is that when we're dumbing down our game and saying, like, okay, fine, it's only for the base of the pyramid, what we're then doing is that mass market brands are the only ones that are attracted to it. And even in doing that, we aren't packaging it well for the mass market so that they can come in and support our product. So in truth, we've got a lot of work to do in packaging our product in such a way that we can sell it to sponsors and also sell it to customers, ultimately our consumers.
And I think testament to that is, of course, the amount of financial services companies that you see involved in the game in South Africa. You know, brands like ABSA, brands like Nedbank, they are all involved there. How many financial institutions do you see that are involved in the game in Zimbabwe? I think the last one was Bank ABC, and they got a raw deal from their sponsorship with Dynamos and Highlanders. And so you don't see the big brands, the big financial institutions. All we see are the companies that we do expect to be involved in the game. They are the ones involved in the game. Send us your messages on WhatsApp 0731168045. What can we do to rebrand and change the game in Zimbabwe? 0731168045. Follow and interact with us on Twitter at ZiFM Sport. There was also football on the rest of the continent. The CAF Champions League first leg quarterfinals, and the results went something like this. Zamalek 3-1 victors over Esperance of Tunisia. They have their work cut out, Esperance, if they are to bounce back. Raja Casablanca 2-0 victors over TP Mazembe, meaning that TP Mazembe will have to turn this one around in Lubumbashi. Al Ahly too good for Mamelodi Sundowns, 2-0, actually flattering to Sundowns. It could have been worse. And then Wydad Casablanca 2-0 victors over Etoile du Sahel. So all the sides that lost by 2 goals, and they certainly have their work cut out.
All the rivalry.
Here is Harry Kane for Tottenham. Oh, what a goal! A classic derby goal from Harry Kane. Catch him if you can.
All the stars.
Oh, back here's Liverpool 2 in front. Talk about impudence. Talk about improvisation. Talk about Sadio Mane.
And all the game-changing moments.
And Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
In England, it was Cup final day, Carabao Cup to be specific, and Pep Guardiola praised Manchester City's awesome performance against marvellous Nakamba's Aston Villa, which saw his side lift the Carabao Cup for the 3rd year in succession with a 2-1 victory yesterday. A nervy opening at Wembley made way for a confident performance from City, with Sergio Aguero's 22nd goal of the season handing them the advantage, and Rodri's header extending it after half an hour. Mwana Samata, his brilliant header reduced the deficit before the break, but it was the holders who prevailed despite a barren second 45 minutes in North London. The narrow victory earned Guardiola the 8th piece of silverware from his tenure at the Etihad, and the Spaniard beamed as he praised his side's performance.
I'm very pleased for the performance we played, especially in the second half with the 2-1 up. Sometimes you don't know what you have to do, if attack or just keep the result you want in the first half, and we did properly. For the fact that we continue to play, we create a lot of chances, shoots. Unfortunately, we could not score the third one. and always the game is open. You know, for the long balls they are strong, so everything can happen. Good taker, but yeah, it's normal. It's a final after our a lot of energy we spent in Madrid. We play in general really well, and yeah, we have another trophy in our club.
City, you know, you're tempted to say that City snuck through. It ended 2-1, and then of course Aston Villa had the luxury of hitting the post towards the end there to try and force extra time. But you got to say to yourself that City missed a lot of opportunities, and it could have been a lot worse than that.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse, but kudos to Aston Villa. I thought they gave it their all. You know, they played better than I expected. Yes, they gave away a lot of chances, you know, but they gave it. They gave a go at them, and the good goal that the Tanzanian that he scored was actually brilliant. I thought that was a brilliant header as well. But yeah, Man City, they are strong, man.
Yeah,
they're really strong. They create chances.
And,
a lot of
and what they have is you look at their lineup, you look at their approach to the game, you look at their dugout and their coach. They are a bunch of winners, aren't they?
Yeah, they're a bunch of winners. I mean, they've clearly developed a taste for silverware.
Yeah.
This is the fifth time in 7 years they are winning this particular competition.
Sure.
So they're dominating it. They won the domestic treble last season, where they won the league title, the FA Cup, as well as this particular competition. They're still in the FA Cup this time round. They may not have a chance to win the league title, but they're still in the Champions League. They've just beaten Real Madrid in the first leg, and they'll be confident that they can complete the job in the second leg. So that should give them the confidence. So this could turn out to be another trophy-laden season for Manchester City. And for me, I know, you know, people will look at Man City and say, oh, you know, money bags. But guys, money does not play.
No,
money does not. It does not play. No. It takes players to go out onto the field to perform. It takes a good manager to put those players together, because we've seen in previous circumstances where people with money have failed. PSG is a prime example of having lots of money but failing to hit their targets.
Madrid Galacticos.
The Madrid Galacticos as well. The original Galacticos. So money is not always the thing that guarantees you success. So for me, you've got to pay credit to this Manchester City. I mean, they play a very entertaining brand of football. They're creating chances at the moment. They're not scoring as many as they should. But I tell you, one of these days,
someone's getting belted.
Someone's going to get smacked.
You see, when people talk about money, you know, one thing that they forget is that those are 35 players. So when you're calculating the money that was spent on, those are not the 11 that are playing.
No.
So you're saying 10, you spend 1 billion, so he must win. They're not all playing at the same time.
No. Yes. And they can't.
They can't play at the same time.
You got 11 who start, 3 substitutes.
Yeah.
That's it.
So don't calculate money that way. That you spend so much, so they must win. Because that is not money playing against money. Those are players that need to be selected, that need to be coached, that need to play according to.
They have to be prepared.
They have to be prepared. Prepare those players. So this thing about money, I don't really understand.
Look, congratulations to Manchester City, but before we move on from this, Marvelous Nakamba, I would say, had a fantastic outing at Wembley, and he deserved to be on that field. He played very well, broke play down, and also started plays.
I think go back to those 2 games when he was dropped. In January, I think it was a wake-up call for him that he couldn't carry on just being safe, being in the team. I think he realized that, you know what, that his place was not sacrosanct, that he could lose his place. So he lost his place, but he's able to bounce back, and he's been putting in big performance after big performance. Let's just give you, of course, that stunning result from Vicarage Road. Jurgen Klopp has urged Liverpool to restart after the unbeaten Premier League run came to an end against Watford. Liverpool suffered a stunning 3-0 loss at Vicarage Road on Saturday, ending a 44-game unbeaten streak in the Premier League. Klopp's men are back in action tomorrow when they make the trip to Chelsea for the FA Cup 5th round. Now, Klopp is eager to see Liverpool, who hold a 22-point lead atop the Premier League, heading into the final months of the season.
We were not good enough. It is that. What board did exactly what they wanted to do. We did not exactly what we should have done. So first half was like it was, a lot of running, a lot of second balls, a lot of open situations where we of course more the ball, but didn't cross in the right moment, didn't pass in the right. But because the positioning was not like it should have been, we changed that in half time, or adjusted it, and then we started immediately better. But then we conceded a goal. So before we could get the the benefit of the better start. We conceded a goal from a throw-in. Tried again. 1-0 is not decisive if you react well. But then we conceded a second one, still not decisive. And the third one we helped. We had a big hand in. So and then it was exactly the game in a lot of moments what Watford wanted. And congratulations, really well done and well deserved. That's what we have to accept.
Klopp saying that Liverpool simply not good enough, and you've got to give him credit for his honesty, because Liverpool weren't at the races and it was a deserved loss, Barry.
Yeah, Liverpool wasn't at the right level. I think that they looked out of sorts. They didn't look like a team that had swept all before them. They looked like they were actually playing into Watford's hands at one point. And then Watford themselves, kudos to them. They had a game plan. They executed it brilliantly. I think to an extent that the Liverpool balance was upset with the inclusion of Lovren. He looked jittery. He looked like he was being sucked into midfield.
Deeney, I think, bullied him all game. Won every aerial duel. And also, Alois, do we now get to appreciate, I think two of Liverpool's most underrated players? Their captain, Jordan Henderson, and Joe Gomez. Because those two players, Joe Gomez was missing, and that's where Lovren stepped into the breach. He simply wasn't good enough. And Jordan Henderson, the two games that he's been missing are the two games in which Liverpool have struggled the most this season. Last week they got away with it, beating West Ham, coming from behind, but this time they were found out.
Yeah, you're very right. When you look at Gomez, it's about the combination. We have always talked about it. They never underestimate the power of combination. His combination, his partnership, his partnership with VVD has been excellent. They are solid. They know how to cover each other. Even if you look at the goal that was scored, the ball that went through, it seemed like VVD was trying to communicate things. He was caught communicating because his partner was not in good place.
All over the place.
He wasn't. Because he was busy trying to make him push, and by the time he's trying to make him push, that's when the ball was threaded.
And Joe Gomez catches Sa.
Absolutely.
Because he's got the pace, and there's that balance that VVD isn't he's quick, but he's not as quick as Gomez. But Gomez catches that, and that doesn't go in.
Yeah, absolutely. So Watford are the first side to beat Liverpool in the Premier League since Manchester City in January 2019, ending the joint longest winning streak, that is 18 matches, which they share with Manchester City, and the second longest unbeaten run, 44 matches in English top flight history. That's 2 matches better than Nottingham Forest, and of course 5 matches short of the record set by Arsenal's Invincibles, which lies at 49 matches. And now for key results from England, Everton had a late winner ruled out by VAR as Bruno Fernandes spared David De Gea's blushes by rescuing a 1-1 draw for Manchester United at Goodison Park. Wolves marched towards Champions League qualification stepped up a notch with a 3-2 win at Tottenham, where they twice came from behind. Mourinho under all sorts of pressure. Marcos Alonso continued his fine scoring form in the Premier League as he rescued a late point for Chelsea in a 2-2 draw with Bournemouth, and a stunning Jamal Lewis goal saw Norwich beat Leicester 1-0 as the Canaries boosted their survival hopes. Tonight's action, the FA Cup Round 5 is back. It's Portsmouth versus Arsenal.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful, where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day, where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic. All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
Real Madrid head coach Zinedine Zidane Zizou hailed his players for regrouping from the Champions League collapse by upstaging Barcelona in El Clasico last night. Madrid conceded twice in 5 minutes during the final 12 minutes in a stunning finish against City. However, Zidane's side bounced back with a 2-0 victory over Barca. Vinicius Jr. and substitute Mariano Diaz scored in the second half at the Santiago Bernabeu as Madrid leapfrogged defending champions Barca atop La Liga table. Zidane hailed Vinicius Jr., his breakthrough goal, which set up the victory.
Bueno, bien como yo creo que al final.
Well, it was good. He scored an important goal in an important match, and I'm happy for him because of the effort he put in, not just in attack, not just with the ball, but from a defensive point of view. He did a great job. That's what I highlight from our work, how solid we are. First, we need to defend properly, and together we know that we can in any given moment. We had the opportunity to score, and in the second half it was quite clear for us. We had lots of opportunities. We scored twice, and we kept a clean sheet, which was also very important, especially in the first half.
Real Madrid had, I would say, you could see the Real Madrid game plan. You could see what Zinedine Zidane wanted to do. He did it, and it paid dividends. Barcelona were a little bit caught in the trap, in inverted commas.
Yeah, you used the right word that Real Madrid had a game plan. You know, I was not confident about Real Madrid, but when the game started and when they were playing, you could actually feel they had the confidence, they had the control, they knew what they wanted to do, and it wasn't surprising eventually when they won, because you could actually see that Barcelona didn't really click. You could actually tell, even especially going up front, they're missing Suarez. They are really missing.
I think with Suarez, this is the type of game that they would have won.
Yeah.
Yes,
they certainly would have won this game. I don't think this is a great Real Madrid side,
No,
and
it's not
a great Barcelona side. The standard of Spanish football, I think, over the last 2 years has dipped, and testament to that is how Real Madrid has struggled in the Champions League over the last couple of seasons, and how Barcelona themselves have struggled in the Champions League over the last few seasons, and Atletico Madrid as well. They're not even involved in this title race.
No.
You take a look at the amount of points that both teams have dropped over the course of this season, just shows you that, you know what, it's a very interesting title race, because I think this could possibly be won by the worst La Liga winner
Yes.
in
So
recent
true.
memory.
Yeah.
In recent memory.
It's-
They're still in it, because there's just 1 point separating Barcelona and Real Madrid, and there are 12 rounds of matches left, so there's a lot to play for. But for Real Madrid, they'll be happy that they did the business. This was their first victory over Barcelona at home since 2014. So for the last 5 seasons, they haven't managed to beat Barcelona in Madrid. This was their first victory, so they'll be happy about that, because they got the 3 points on board.
the worst winner in La Liga, according to Mike Madoda this season. Key results out of La Liga. Yusuf En-Nesyri scored a brace as Sevilla edged Osasuna with a 3-2 victory. Super Eagles midfielder Ogenekaro Etebo was in action for his Spanish side Getafe as they beat Mallorca 1-0. Atletico Madrid's poor domestic form continued as they could only draw 1-1 away to La Liga's bottom side Espanyol. So the top 3 are Real Madrid 1 point ahead of Barcelona, 56 and 55 are their points respectively, and then in third position is Sevilla, some distance away, 10 points off the top and on 46
Can
points.
I just illustrate a point, guys?
Sure.
These teams have played 26 games.
Yeah.
And they're on 56 points.
56
and
points,
55.
Yeah.
Real Madrid has dropped 22 points.
Yeah.
This
Imagine.
season.
That shows
We've still
you.
got 12 rounds of matches left. They've dropped to 22 points.
That's ridiculous.
It just shows
mediocre.
you that it's, yes, that Barcelona and Real Madrid are fighting it out at the top, but it's not at the usual high level.
The standard has gone down.
Yeah, we discussed that you know what, they actually allowed the other teams, the smaller teams, to actually catch up. It looks like their standard has improved, but no, it's not. It's competitive, yes, because these two have actually dropped.
Okay, let's give you a couple of quick updates to wrap up the show out of Italy and Germany. Lazio sit atop of Serie A after they won 2-0 at Bologna on Saturday in one of 5 weekend top-flight matches which were unaffected by the coronavirus outbreak. Luis Alberto fired Lazio in front in the 18th minute and set up the second for Joaquin Correa 3 minutes later as the hosts extended their unbeaten run in Serie A to 21 games. And then in Germany, we can tell you that Bundesliga leaders Bayern Munich fired in 3 goals in the opening 15 minutes en route to a 6-0 demolition of host Hoffenheim on Saturday in a game interrupted for 20 minutes over an offensive banner unfurled by visiting fans. Borussia Dortmund needed a goal from informed teenager Jadon Sancho to beat Freiburg 1-0 after a lackluster performance, and Red Bull Leipzig's title chase hit a snag when they drew 1-1 at home against Bayer Leverkusen.
Erling Haaland failing to score, a bit of a crisis.
Surprise.
Crisis.
What a failure.
What happened?
What a flop. Yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow. May God richly bless you. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. Manande, out.